Welcome to Spine-Chilling Stories, where we delve into the darkest mysteries and true crime stories that have shocked the world. Today, we revisit the chilling case of Laci Peterson, whose disappearance and murder in the early 2000s captured the nation's attention. Join us as we explore Laci's life, the harrowing events leading up to her disappearance, and the shocking investigation that ensued. This is the tragic and haunting story of Laci Peterson. Laci's background and relationship with Scott. Laci Denise Peterson, born on May 4, 1975, in Modesto, California, was known for her vibrant personality and loving nature. She met Scott Peterson while attending California Polytechnic State University, and their relationship quickly blossomed into what seemed like a fairy tale romance. The couple married in 1997 and settled in Modesto, where Laci, who had always dreamed of being a mother, was thrilled to become pregnant with their first child, a boy they named Connor, in 2002. On the surface, the Petersons appeared to have a perfect life, but behind the scenes, dark secrets and hidden tensions were brewing. Scott, who had initially seemed excited about fatherhood, began to express doubts and reluctance. He confided in friends that he never really wanted children, leading to growing unease in their marriage. The disappearance. It was December 24, 2002, Christmas Eve. Laci, 8 months pregnant, planned to spend the day preparing for the holiday, including taking her dog Mackenzie for a walk. However, when Scott returned home that afternoon from what he claimed was a fishing trip, he found Mackenzie wandering the neighborhood, leash still attached, but Laci was nowhere to be found. Panic set in as Scott called Laci's mother, Sharon Rocher, to see if she had seen Laci. When she hadn't, the family contacted the police, and a search for Laci began. The neighborhood was scoured, and volunteers joined law enforcement in a desperate effort to find her. As the hours turned into days, the hope of finding Laci alive began to fade, and the investigation took a darker turn. The investigation and Scott's behavior. As the investigation progressed, Scott Peterson's behavior became increasingly suspicious. He initially presented himself as a concerned husband, but soon began exhibiting strange and unsettling behaviors. His alibi, that he had been fishing at the Berkeley Marina, was shaky at best, with few witnesses able to confirm his presence. Scott's actions became more erratic. He appeared more concerned with media coverage than with finding his wife, and he failed a polygraph test, further raising suspicions. But the most damning revelation came when police discovered Scott had been having an affair with a woman named Amber Frey, who was unaware of his marriage and Laci's pregnancy. Amber provided crucial evidence, recording conversations with Scott, in which he spoke of his wife in the past tense before she was even reported missing. These revelations, combined with Scott's odd behavior, led investigators to believe that he may have been involved in Laci's disappearance. The theory emerged that Scott, who never wanted children, saw Laci's pregnancy as a burden and sought to free himself from the responsibilities of fatherhood. The robbery and family reactions. Adding another layer of complexity to the case, a robbery occurred near the Peterson home around the same time as Laci's disappearance. Some speculated that the robbery might be connected to her disappearance, but investigators ultimately ruled out any link. As the investigation focused increasingly on Scott, the reactions of Laci and Scott's families were starkly different. Laci's family, heartbroken and desperate for answers, began to suspect Scott's involvement, devastated by the betrayal of someone they had welcomed into their lives. On the other hand, Scott's family staunchly defended him, insisting on his innocence despite mounting evidence. The discovery of Laci and Connor. In April 2003, the search for Laci ended in tragedy. The remains of a baby boy were found washed ashore in San Francisco Bay, followed by the discovery of a woman's torso a mile away, later identified as Laci Peterson. The location, near where Scott claimed to have been fishing, seemed to confirm investigators' worst fears. The grim discovery, combined with Scott's behaviour and infidelity, led to his arrest on April 18, 2003, just days before Connor's due date. Despite the overwhelming circumstantial evidence, Scott maintained his innocence and never confessed to the crime. The trial of Scott Peterson. Scott Peterson's trial began in June 2004, drawing intense media attention. The prosecution argued that Scott had meticulously planned and executed the murder of his wife and unborn child to avoid the responsibilities of fatherhood and to continue his affair with Amber Frey. The evidence against Scott, while circumstantial, was compelling. The recordings of his conversations with Amber, his attempts to change his appearance, and his suspicious behaviour were all presented to the jury. The defence, however, argued that there was no direct evidence linking Scott to the murders and suggested alternative theories, including the possibility of a third-party abduction. Ultimately, the jury found Scott guilty of first-degree murder for Laci's death and second-degree murder for Connor's death. He was sentenced to death by lethal injection, a sentence he continues to appeal to this day. The aftermath and public reaction. The conviction of Scott Peterson brought a measure of justice to Laci's family, but it also left lingering questions. How could a man who seemed to have everything, a loving wife, a child on the way, a successful career, commit such a monstrous act? What drove Scott to kill his wife and unborn child? The Laci Peterson case continues to resonate with the public, serving as a chilling reminder that the most horrifying crimes can happen behind closed doors. Laci's family remains vocal in their belief that justice was served, while Scott's family continues to fight for his exoneration, arguing that he was wrongfully convicted. Expert opinions. Experts in criminal psychology have offered various interpretations of Scott Peterson's actions. Some suggest that Scott's apparent desire to maintain control over his life and his reluctance to embrace fatherhood may have driven him to murder. His ability to compartmentalize, leading a double life while plotting his wife's death, has been a focal point of psychological analysis. Investigators also highlighted the challenges of building a case on circumstantial evidence, yet the consistency of Scott's behavior with the prosecution's theory ultimately swayed the jury. The role of the media in shaping public perception has also been a subject of debate, with some arguing that Scott was convicted as much by public opinion as by the evidence presented in court. Now that we've delved into this haunting case, we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on the Laci Peterson case? Do you believe Scott Peterson's conviction was justified? Share your insights and theories in the comments below. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more deep dives into true crime and mystery. The tragic story of Laci Peterson continues to remind us of the darkness that can lurk beneath seemingly perfect lives. As we conclude this episode, we keep Laci and Connor in our thoughts, hoping that their story serves as a beacon for justice and awareness. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into one of the most shocking true crime cases of our time. We'll continue to bring you more stories that challenge our understanding of human nature and justice. Until next time, stay vigilant, stay curious, and stay safe.